So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Hey, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot. Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Kick it.
Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Hello.
Morning, good morning, good morning, sunshine. How are you?
Hey. How are you?
I'm even better now. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me today. I know that you have been busy, you have been traveling, and I am just grateful that you have taken the time to pencil me in.
Oh my goodness. The same goes your way. The same from me to you. This is all part of being in my business. So I am not taking time away from my schedule. You are part of my schedule. So
I appreciate that. You know, earlier today, I was talking to Miss Denise and I was telling her how excited I am to have this conversation with you. I did some cheating and I went through and I was watching one of your TED Talks, and I am a bigger fan now than I thought I would have been from the jump. And I said, you know, you are such a deep thinker and you encourage others to slow down and to think. The art of storytelling is just something that you have mastered, but not because you've given it so much time, but because you're gifted with it. And some things people have is just a certain anointing, and you have that ability to do just that. And we are going to get that firsthand real soon, right here in the state of Louisiana.
yeah, I am so excited to be coming to Louisiana. And thank you for your kind words. But I love what I do, and I went to school for it. As you know, we're born unable even to feed ourselves. So everything after we're born, we pretty much learn. And it's been 40 years of honing my craft, and I think the excitement of it, the excitement I feel, it really helps with creating what I create. So I think that goes not just for myself, but for everybody everybody who is working, with what they love.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Courtesy of Warring Women, More Light Missions, Covenant University International, and Word of Faith World Ministries. Here in Louisiana, we're going to have the opportunity to take this journey, the Malaga Ship. Now, this is taking place Sunday, April 13th, so it's right around the corner. But I want you to tell me a little bit about the Malaga Ship, a story of Maine and the Middle Passage.
yes, this is a fascinating and sad story about I was born and raised in Brazil, mainly in the Rio de Janeiro metropolitan area. Then I came to the United States, not directly from Rio, but I came via another state called Rio Grande do Norte, which is up on the northeast corner of Brazil, sticking to the Atlantic. But anyway, the essence of it is I come from Brazil to Maine, and right here in Maine, there are these amazing stories connecting Maine with Brazil and Africa. And I was not aware of these stories early on. I've been in Maine for 37 years. And so I came to hone my craft as a movement artist, mime, and storyteller came later. I went to theater school. I got a degree in theater arts from the University of Southern Maine, just about 20 minutes away from where I live. And I was completely unaware of it because Maine is known as the whitest state in the Union.
Okay.
The whole state has about 1.3 million people, and the majority are white. And that's always been that thought, that it's always been that way after colonization. There are non-white people here, the natives, who were here at the time. But little by little, it became very white, and everybody kind of took that in as that's part of what conquering another area is. A lot of people from Europe comes in. The Mayflower and whatnot, and then it becomes very white. And because the Northeast was not involved with enslavement of Africans, that's something that is connected to the South. Well, the whole history has been turned upside down as of a few years now. When I say a few years, I could say maybe 10 years, from 10 years, within the past 10 years, it's been a lot of uncovering of New England's involvement in the illicit trafficking of Africans to the Americas, simply because New England is a powerhouse when it comes to shipbuilding.
What do you think caused the unveiling within the last 10 years or so?
A lot of people, scholars who have been digging and putting two and two together and realizing that a lot of the vessels that were built here in the 1800s were used. I'm not saying all of the vessels, but it is now known, it's a known fact that over 1,700 vessels were used in the trafficking of Africans. Because what happened was, in the 1800s, it was illegal to traffic. The British made it illegal in 1808. The Americans followed suit in 1807. Sorry, the British in 1807, the Americans in 1808. And but that was when it then surges. The most amount of trafficking, the crossings of the Atlantic from Africa to the Americas happened right when it was illegal, because people panicked and the Industrial Revolution was growing in Europe, and they needed raw materials, and there was a lot of money to be made with the selling of humans into the slave trade. Millions of dollars made with the trafficking alone. And so it became the #1 industry in the world in the 1800s. The enslavement of Africans becomes, in the 1800s, the #1 industry.
Wow.
Everybody, even if you are not, I say this in the show, even if you're not for it, the clothes you're wearing came from it. The shoes you put on came from it. The
It
streets,
was supported by you one way or the other, intentionally or not.
intentionally or not. So the Malaga, the vessel that the story centers around, the Malaga, it was a small ship built 30 minutes away from my house in 1832. And little by little, the Malaga changes hands and lands in Rio in 1845 to the hands of the #1 trafficker in Rio de Janeiro. And he was getting a lot of ships from every place that he could. I'll keep his name for the show. And so that's the story of the ship. The ship comes from Maine, goes to my homeland of Brazil to bring our ancestors, my ancestors to Brazil. It's not historically known that my ancestors, my family members, were part of that ship. But nonetheless, the groups of people that were brought to the Americas are part of the same group of people I come from, and the Bantu people. And anyway, long story short, I come from Brazil and I come to Maine. So there's this this juxtaposition of my story coming here to become a storyteller, which I had no intention. I didn't even know what storytelling was. Storytelling was something we did on a daily basis at home in Brazil growing up. I didn't know there was a profession that you could have as a storyteller. That was news for me here in Maine when I started to come across storytellers. My whole purpose of coming to Maine was to study mime and movement. And then
I want to talk about that, because that's not something that you particularly hear a lot of people saying. What was the interest to want to study mime or to even know that was an option? Because now it's very well, not a lost art, but a very unique art. What struck you about that to where you knew that was the move for you?
Well, what struck about it, I took a class in Brazil, a mime class in Brazil, and a sister of mine, I have four older sisters, and one of them is a retired theater professor, and she said,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, I see you're very creative with your movements. You're always moving. You should try some mime. I have a friend coming in from France, and he did mime there, and he's teaching here for a week. You should take his class." So I took his class, and the rest was history. It's like I didn't want to do anything else with my life but mime. And I am very happy I chose that path with full support from my family. My family was always of the kind that said, if something tickles you to that level, you should try it. And then if you don't want it anymore later on, something else will tickle you just as much, and you just move on. And so mine gave me many gifts. It gave me the gift of putting my creativity somewhere, of creating stories without words. Mime is storytelling pretty much through body language, not sign language, but body language and movement and gesture.
Right.
And the illusions you create with the gestures. And so I was really bubbly about it. And little did I know that the state where I was living, not Rio, but the other state I mentioned earlier, Rio Grande do Norte, that's where I took my first mime class, is the sister state of Maine. And through a partnership and called Partners of the Americas. So I'm sitting here at this state in Brazil, not my home state, actually 3 hours by jet plane away from my home state of Rio. And the best mime in the United States lives in Maine, which is the sister state of the state where I am. And I applied for a grant to come and study with him. And I got the grant, and I came in 1988. And my life just took another leap, which was huge. The first leap was from Rio to Rio Grande do Norte, where I went to, moved away from my parents' home and wanted to try, new things and take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I actually lived with this sister who was a theater professor,
And just to know that she saw something in you and said, you know what, you might want to try this. That's someone that loves you so much, they will nurture what they think could be
Yeah,
something big for you.
yeah.
Maybe you'll like it. If not, then don't worry about it. But to know that your family was so supportive and to say, you know what, if this doesn't work, something else will tickle you, that tickles me, because it's just like, it's true. If you
But
love
that's
it,
what
you
life,
get it. If not, he'll be on to the next.
that's right. And that's what life should be, right? For everybody. You
Yeah.
do something that you love to the best of your ability, as long as you can. And that landed me a scholarship to go to theater school here at the university. And then I start to blend mime with talking afterwards, because I wanted to tell some stories verbally with movement. I didn't want to turn them into a mime piece. I really wanted to, it's not everything that you have that you necessarily want to turn into a musical or a song. You want to tell for what it is. And I wanted to tell those stories verbally, but the movement was always there. And that's the style that I bring to the Malaga Ship story. Is the ship, I give the ship voice. So it starts very folk tale-ish, like in the woods of Maine. The trees are excited because they know they're going to become something else other than
Yeah.
trees. The lumberjacks are coming for them. And Grandmother Pine in the story is a seer of things, and she foresees what the trees are going to become. You're going to become a church. You're going to become a barn. You're going to become a neighborhood. You're going to, and then she foresees the ship for this grove of young pine trees. And so the story is told through myself, but little by little, the ship takes hold of the story and finishes the show pretty much. So
I love to call this another level of edutainment. You're entertaining us, but you're educating us on so many different things, from mime to storytelling to creative thinking. I mean, because that's so creative to know that you're telling a story that is so historical, but yet is taking on the characteristics from a tree that can foresee what they will become, and then the things that they become, the things that they will do. I mean, that's deep. I love this. Like, these are the conversations that need to find us at our dinner table more often than not.
Well, coming from a career of telling a lot of folk tales, I entertain mainly kids. I do a lot of work with kids in schools, libraries, and so 30 years of telling folk tales, and not just folk tales, but a lot of folk tales, where everything talks, trees talk, shoes talk, dogs talk, cats talk. And I'm like, if I'm going to engage with the ship, if the ship is going to tell her story of being also sold into it, she's sold into the Middle Passage, just like
Right.
the captives, you know.
Wow.
It's completely at the mercy of the people selling her and buying her. So there's this very deep juxtaposition as well between the ship and the people she's carrying. I said, if the ship is going to talk, I have to create a way that the audience can buy into that. Why would a ship talk? So I'm like, well, if the ship talks, maybe the ship comes from a culture that the trees talk, and it's scientifically proven that the ticks, sorry, not the ticks, the trees, that the trees talk to one another. It's scientifically proven they communicate, that they are connected, root system wise, that they take care of one another. This is scientifically proven that the forest is one cohesive entity made by several plants. And the root system, I read an article a few years ago that one tree is not doing well, the other trees support it.
Nurture it.
They
Yeah.
nurture it. It's really incredible. So I said,
Only if we were more like trees.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I say in the beginning of the show, I say, if you stretch your imagination a little bit, you can even imagine that they could tell stories as well. And then the show starts, So it's been really a blessing and an honor beyond measure. I say that with a lot of humility and compassion. It's been a blessing and an honor beyond measure to tell the story. And it's a story that it's not about blaming people. I don't make anybody feel uncomfortable in the telling of it. And it's not about pointing fingers. It's not about saying you should have known better, or your family members back in the day. That's the wrong way to approach the subject, because if the people living at the time that this was happening could not escape it, even the people who were against it, right? As I said earlier, the products they bought, the clothes they were. I cannot blame the people, the future generations of the people who did the wrongdoing, because it's not their fault.
Right.
So I'm not going to turn my audience away from the story. So the purpose of the story is not to blame anybody. It's not to make anybody feel comfortable. The purpose is to bring the story to the surface, to the light, so it can be healed.
Yeah.
And when you take it out of the ground and into the light, the divine light will heal it. I believe in that so much, that when you talk about difficult things, it is a way to process it and bring light to it. And that's the purpose of the show. So the show involves Maine history, Brazilian history, African history, and my own personal history. When the ship arrives in Rio in 1845, I opened the story to my family, my biracial family story of living in the country that was the #1 slave country in the Americas, was Brazil. Half of the people who arrived from Africa on American shores went to Brazil. Okay.
Wow.
A lot of
And
people.
there's a lot of rich history there. And a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
conversations that people may shy away from, or they may not be well versed enough to give an intellectual perspective on, so it's not opinionated, giving a lot of facts and just bringing some things to light, like you said. And everyone is super excited because on the 13th, this is going to be simply amazing. Tickets are on sale right now, 225-413-2813. Want to make sure that everyone grab those tickets. Sunday, April 13th is going on at Word of Faith World Ministries, and that's right there in Port Allen. If you've never been to Port Allen, you're going to love it. It is a jewel of a place, and everyone that will be there, they're going to be so happy that you are making this a part of the journey, because I'm excited about this one. Warring Women.
What time is the show you have?
This is 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
Yes, 10 a.m. The show runs about 45 minutes, starts right at 10 a.m. in Port Allen. And then after 45 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, then there is a Q&A afterwards with the audience as well. So
I love it. Tell them to come with the thinking caps.
yes, and you can. I sit right after the show is over. I sit down and we can talk about everything that we can in relation to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you again to Warring Women, More Light Missions, Covenant University International, and Word of Faith World Ministries. Now, this is, I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly, the Malaga.
The Malaga, exactly.
The Malaga Ship, a story of Maine and the Middle Passage. Mr. Rocha, you are right with me. I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. So whenever you have anything going on, whenever you have more of these wonderful stories to tell, I want you to feel free to jump in the hot seat and on the tan line. I mean, this is refreshing. This is very thought-provoking, and we need more of this. We need more of you. So whenever you have time, you just say the word and it's done, okay?
Okay, my dear. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise. I know you have more work to do, so I'm going to let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you.